You've set a goal. If you don't make it, it's like breaking a promise.
Put your hands together for the heart stomping, booty shaking, earthquake making, history making, legendary Castaways Against Cancer!
Getting to this point is anything but easy. But what can you expect when preparing to kayak 160 nautical miles, all to find a cure for cancer?
Well, my original intention to start the Castaways was I joined the American Cancer Society after cancer had taken about 3 of my family members. And they had this thing called a Relay for Life. And after doing that once or twice, we thought to ourselves, this isn't tough enough. We were young. We said, we want to do something a little bit more extreme.
One of his concepts was that it was difficult, it was painful, it was challenging, very much like radiation or chemotherapy would be on a cancer patient. So you have to pretty much be prepared to paddle hard and get mentally tough.
I'm always anxious the first couple hours. It'll pass.
Top of the morning to you. Another paddle here.
Let me show you something by me.
Another paddle here. Looks like the weather's going to hold on.
I think the weather gods are going to be okay today, so.
Looks like we're going to take off really nice.
Just try to make sure I didn't forget anything. I'm not very superstitious or ritual based. I just kind of do my thing and just kind of roll with it.
Leading this eclectic crew is team captain Patrick Limfors.
That's 160 miles over 7 days in an effort to help find a cure and to honor those who have fought the fight. Knowing our experience is nowhere near the gauntlet endured by cancer fighters, we strive to honor them through this journey, which is repetitive, challenging, and painful. Getting through takes determination, patience, mental strength, and most importantly, a support team full of encouragement, love, and faith.
Good luck, Castaways.
This 17th annual Odyssey is called the Proof of Life Tour. By kayaking, by fighting, by funding research, and by supporting those who know cancer, together we are putting our collective flag in the ground and declaring, we will paddle and we will live. We will light a candle rather than curse the darkness. We will find a cure. We will honor, remember, and celebrate. We will show that good can come from bad. And this is how we all show the world our proof of life.
When I got asked to join the team in late 1999-2000, I was 24 years old. I was a young news reporter in Miami, and I was looking for the next great adventure in my life, and this sounded like it. A Miami to Key West trip in a kayak, this is what I wanted to do. This was fun. I recognized the cause. I saw that it was important, but I was looking for the next big adventure.
Now, 17 years ago when the Castaways began, we didn't know where it was going to go. Some of us thought it'd be a year, maybe 2 years. It was just still brand new and fun. I had no idea that it would be this big and last this long.
The first few days of the trip lead the Castaways to Key Largo, but first the team makes landfall at the Elliott Key campground.
Oh, here it comes.
Do we have to talk about Elliott Key? Okay, I'll talk about Elliott Key. Elliott Key is the bane of my existence.
It's the place where raccoons and rats can arm wrestle. It's an awful place.
The mosquito population is about 100,000 per square foot. I'm exaggerating, but sometimes I'm not exaggerating. And all night long you lay in a hot tent without a breeze. You're perspiring, you're sunburnt, and you can hear the buzz of those mosquitoes just waiting for you to make a mistake and open that tent up. So Elliott Key after the first night, it's not a good experience.
No one camps there during the summer, but we do. But here's the deal. We're honoring those who have fought the fight. So how I feel about it is we need to camp on night one. I don't care if they build a hotel out there, we probably still need to camp at Elliott Key so that we can feel a little pain, a little suffering to make the rest of the trip so much sweeter. The whole trip is about highs and lows, because there are moments on the trip where you can't believe you're still paddling. It's so hot, you've been going for 3 hours, you need a break, you need a place to stay. and then there are highs, but you got to go through the valley to get to the mountaintop. And so Elliott Key is one of those valleys that we have to go through to get to the mountaintop.
After a harsh first night comes a brutal second day as the castaways embark on their notorious Day 2 journey.
Day 2 is the day that my body says, oh, you're doing this again.
But you have to do a total disconnect. If you look at the clock, you're not going to make it. It's the same motion over and over and over again, from sun up to sundown.
If I did this trip alone, I probably wouldn't finish, because you always want to put your paddle down, but the idea is, I don't know, you're looking ahead and the guy ahead of you hasn't put his paddle down since you started, so you can't put your paddle down. Everyone out there has their own motivations, their own reason to do it, whether it's an adventure, whether it's for somebody, whether it's to raise money or honor. And my motivation is OB and the guys out there and the people I paddle for every year. And I paddle for Sebastian Ortiz, my student in cross-country running. He had just gotten out of surgery that same day, or the day before. He had just left that hospital that same day.
I don't think you find too many opportunities in life to really be by yourself for such long periods of time, and I think it's very refreshing in a way. You have, conversations with God. You have conversations with yourself. You make plans. You make goals, and sometimes you just quiet your mind.
Hi, John. Hi, guys. Hi, Dad.
After going through many Day 2s, Day 2 is the longest day of the trip. It's 30 miles. We were on the water for 12 hours today.
After laying down their paddles, the castaways look forward to the first restful night of the trip and prepare for whatever the next day may bring. With another long 2 days ahead of them, the castaways begin to feel the aches and pains of their journey.
Shoulders are hurting. It's hard to believe that, that you can hurt steel, but this is where I'm hurting today.
Despite the struggle, the paddlers are glad to come across one of their beloved traditions on the third day of their journey.
And Toilet Seat Pass is it's a channel that we go through on day 3, and on each side of the channel, people have put posts with toilet seats on them. So the castaways, when they found Toilet Seat Pass, they actually made their own toilet seat.
We park our boats behind it. It's not the best stop because it's mucky. There's fire coral, but we get there, we have a drink. We usually baptize people. We give them their castaway names, and there's a whole little ceremony that goes around with it.
Well, there's every organization has a natural history, it has tradition, stuff like that, right? And when you look at it all, it's just it's a type of camaraderie.
And it's a remarkable history. It's a fun history. It's an irreverent history. And when you hear the stories and you hear the lore, you get drawn into it.
When we do all this stuff, right, it's really out of affection and love. It's just a confirmation of how we feel about each other. It's a very positive team. We got a great team. And so the traditions come. We're not King Arthur, but some of the stuff is kind of fun to do. It puts a smile on your face when you think about it.
After grueling stretches of paddling, the trip so far has been just as challenging as it has been rewarding. And the castaways are more than relieved to have reached the milestone, the halfway point in their journey. But the team is nowhere near done showing their proof of life. By the fourth day of the journey, the castaways know to expect challenges. But even some of the veteran kayakers can run into some trouble.
In my particular boat, which I maintain better than my car, which is not saying a lot of times, but I had the housing for the rudder assembly sheared off the side of the boat. And when you have heavy waves, it's nice to have a rudder. That was really unexpected. Well, the thing about cancer is you don't have much of a choice. You have to deal with the situations they come up daily. And sometimes the news is good and sometimes the news is bad. And with the tandem, like cancer, when it comes up, you can get angry or you can accept it and you can do your best to repair and correct it. I don't dwell on it. We get it fixed, we move on. Because you can't dwell on it. We got too much going on.
Something unexpected occurred with one of the kayaks. So it has been a non-stop day. However, one of the things that motivates you the most is knowing that you're here to help.
Well, Diana has become the official captain of the road crew. She's, if you ask any of the guys, she's an indispensable part of the team. She's an incredible organizer. She's always in contact with everybody. She plans ahead.
There are so many people on the road crew that have sacrificed so much. Maybe this is their ministry, and because they're not on the water doesn't mean that they're not important. We got so much goodwill, but the ultimate question is, and it comes down like this, are we doing enough? And I think at the end of the day, I think we are doing enough.
Good morning! Today is day 5 of the Castaways trip to Key West. This morning they left at 7:15 from Grassy Key and they are on their way to Bahia Honda, which is around mile marker 36. And the road crew over here is going to surprise them at their next stop.
But before the road crew makes their surprise appearance, the Castaways paddle their way into one of the journey's most iconic obstacles, the 7 Mile Bridge.
The 7 Mile Bridge for me has always been the one area that I have been worried about. It's the time where we're the furthest from land. It's a long, open paddle where stuff can go wrong and there's nothing there to help you.
The winds go one direction, the currents go another. You got confluences of water, and you get these waves that you have to predict. And if you don't watch them closely and they hit you in a wrong way, you're going to capsize.
Real dangers present themselves when the team encounters yet another rudder failure, this time on Greg the Rain Man trainer's boat. Castaway Eric Pino captured this obstacle on camera.
Oh, we got some serious damage here. This is the rudder right here. The whole housing is right here. This whole piece is supposed to go on the back of the boat, right back here.
Well, you know, the funny thing about it is the comparison to 7 Mile Bridge and cancer is that some guys think the 7 Mile Bridge is great fun, right? They just think it's the greatest thing ever. It's a roller coaster ride. Again, with cancer and the 7 Mile Bridge, everything is attitude, right? If you go in there and say, you know, if you got a bad attitude, it's going to amplify the negativity. If you have a good attitude, it's going to amplify your ability to get it done. So cancer, I think the same way. I've had a lot of friends who've gone through cancer. And a positive attitude is a force multiplier, no question.
After a day full of setbacks, the Castaways make their way to Bahia Honda State Park, where a pleasant surprise awaits them.
Seeing your family is wonderful every day. You know, you get hugs, you get pats on the back, you know, you see smiling faces, you know you're going to see them again hopefully the next day. It's very motivating to see you know, your loved ones, to see the road crew, to see your friends, some which drop by from other places.
With 36 miles remaining in their journey, the Castaways await the last full day on the water before their final landing.
You can start tasting victory, you know, you're almost there. The worst is over, and then you can see the finish line, and then you're afraid you're going to stumble. That's very frustrating.
When we left the beach at Bahia Honda, I was concerned. It was the most concerned I was during this particular trip because the wind was coming out of the wrong direction and it was blowing hard. Waves were slapping the beach and I was a little concerned. And when we got in the water, it was bumpy. The wind was in our face.
The tide was coming out in very, very quickly. And actually when we made a turn, we were in incredibly shallow water. So a decision was made that instead of going the long way through the channel, we were going to take a shortcut which had never been done before through the mangroves. So we started to use our paddles like a gondolier to push ourselves through, and we couldn't do it. So I made the decision to get out of the boat in order to lighten it. You know, I weigh 215 pounds, so get off the boat, all of a sudden you're more buoyant.
And you see the storms developing over the horizon, and you're going, oh my gosh, do we throw the dice and go? Or do we stay and then get in darkness? So it's, you know, sometimes you got to make a decision, you got to make it quickly, because here's the problem. You got to get in, right? You can't be out there all night.
So we waited out the storm. We weren't sure if we should go or not, and we've been looking at the radar and we seem to have a little pocket that we feel confident that we could fit through. Our only concern is really lightning.
And then we had to paddle. It took us 3 hours to get across the next stretch in the wind, in between these two storms, and that made for a very long day. We were on the water, it turned out, for 12 hours on day 6, and that's a long day on the water. We didn't make it to the destination until almost 8 o'clock in the evening, which is late for us.
And they're here, finally, 8 o'clock at night, the longest day ever. We're ready to go and having a yummy meal.
Well, I would say on day 6, there's not excitement for me. It's more, it's not sad. It's just like, all right, the trip's ending, and you start thinking, what have you done, what have you missed, and how far have you come, and how much money you raised, and what did you bring to the table for the trip. So it's kind of culminating feeling on day 6.
It's just really become much bigger than it ever was, and it's not just 7 or 8 or 12 guys paddling. It's really now almost like a community paddling, and so many people are supporting us that are not here, that are employees and staff members and schoolmates. That it's become much bigger than any one of us ever thought it would be.
The very first trip in the summer of 2000, when we landed in Key West, the photograph of us landing is me taking a picture of 3 other guys because no one was there. And now to have 50, 75, 100 people at a landing, it's absolutely humbling and a tremendous experience. And it makes you feel like, wow, we really are doing something that's making an impact. Heavenly Father, on this last day of our Proof of Life tour, we ask that you keep us focused on our mission of helping to find a cure and to honoring those who have fought the fight. Castaways on 3. 1, 2, 3. Castaways! Put your hands together for the heart stomping, booty shaking, earthquake making, history making, legendary Castaways Against Cancer!
Man, I feel so good. I feel good.
It's an honor to be a part of the Castaways and to be somebody that's been able to paddle every trip. So 17 years of paddling with OB and with this team has been one of the great joys of my life.
In 2005, my brother battled cancer. 2008, my wife battled cancer. Since then, my father, my sister-in-law, several other loved ones and family members have battled cancer. And so I can tell you that 16 years later, the cause for me is what keeps me going. I want to fight cancer in a very big way because I see what it can do. I see the battles that my loved ones have had to go through, and I recognize that the impact the Castaways are making is strong and powerful, and I want to be a part of that.
I think this year I sat in my kayak for another minute because you get there and you're kind of like, there's finality in the moment. There's that you hear as your boat pulls in, and that's the end. That's always a good feeling.
Tonight we will have our closing ceremony and really laser in on why we do this. We'll be laying flowers at the water at sunset, and we will have with us the names of the people we paddle for.
Life is short. Do good things. That's all I got to say.
So tonight when we lay those flowers, not only will we be honoring the people that supported us this year and their loved ones, but the people going back 16 years. All those names will be with us tonight.
The pain is over. No, it's literally, you know it's over. The 7 days really are tough. I think a lot of people see this as an adventure. So in a way, you're glad that you've achieved it, but you're also glad that for the moment, it's over. But we'll be back in 365 days.
I cannot describe the trip in one word, but I can describe it in one phrase. And that phrase is, it's the worst trip you'll ever love. And this is a great, great, great chapter of my life.